I'm Julie Meyer. I'm the host of the FTE Winter 2024, and I'm here with Jason Beresford, the Executive Chairman of Root Technologies, one of the most innovative energy tech impact ventures. We invited him to keynote at the FTE Winter. Good to have you with us, Jason.
Good to be invited, thank you.
So first of all, it was your first FTE Winter. Just how did it match with what you thought it was going to be, and so forth? It's
been great. I mean, it's some great speakers. Great to meet other people. We probably met 3 or 4 people where there are synergies, and I think we'll be able to have conversations outside of it. So other entrepreneurs with similar technologies or similar ideas where we can bring things together. And no, so it's fantastic.
Well, I was really pleased that we were able to invite you to come and so forth. Tell us about Root Technologies. Just give us the value prop.
So Root Technologies. So we're a company that we're a mission-driven company. We're looking to try and help with the energy transition. So we don't think there's one answer, and we think we're a part of the answer. We have come up with technologies where we can take compressions and store the energy, convert it into electrical energy, and then give it to people where they need it. So, for example, we have a harvester and we have a kind of an e-gen conversion box. As vehicles drive over our current system, we capture the energy through a hydraulic system. We store that, and then we use it to kind of create electric over time. So hydraulic systems aren't always seen as the most efficient system, but they're the most easy to control. So
interesting. Is that going into new builds of roads, or how does this actually get into the network of roads?
So at the moment we have a version where we put it on top of the road. Okay. So there's like a ramp where people drive on, and we've done that for demonstration purposes. So we can take it to people and say, we'll install it and we'll show you working where you are. Mm-hmm. But in an ideal position, it would become part of the built environment. So it become part of the infrastructure. So for example, at ports, when people are driving off, they could drive over our harvesters, and we'd harvest the energy and convert it to electricity and put it back into the building or back into the grid or into batteries to be stored later. Longer term, when we have the car version come out, then as you go through a drive-through or you go to retailers, you can put these anywhere. There's also probably what they call a row, so roll-on, roll-off, where you can put it for the military use. Yep. You could drop these things into, I'm trying to get into Glastonbury so I can get free tickets. I never get tickets for Glastonbury. So you can actually drop them on the grass as people drive in and out. Then we could capture the power and we can help power Glastonbury.
Okay. Harvester is your own term. It's your own,
yes.
And it's a key piece of it. Does that include the storage? Is that the whole point of it, or the harvester is the process?
2 parts. No, the harvester is where we collect the compressions. So whether you walk on it, or we're looking at cattle, as cattle walk into dairies, we can capture the power. So there's a harvester, and then the separate box is called the e-gen. So the e-gen box, where we take the pressure, we store that, and then we create the electric. That's one part of the system, and then there are a number of harvesters that we can look at producing, and we are producing to capture the power.
Okay. Whose idea was this? It's very clever.
There's a guy back home, Tony at Edmondson Bennett. It was his idea originally, about 5 or 6 years ago. There was a number of iterations of it, and this first thing looks very different to the thing we have now. So we're on like iteration 5. So more recently we've used ProDrive, who support Subaru when they won all their rally championships. And they're very close to where we are in the Midlands, in England, and we work with those very closely to come up with the latest harvester design. So we've taken someone's idea, and it's very much kind of evolved to where we are today, and then we want to continue to evolve that to look at, animals, how we can kind of do that, and also we talk to people like NEOM. People don't want traffic all the time, so there'll always be traffic. So I think our harvesters for traffic will always be useful. But also, how do we get to the kind of a people-based version? So how do people walk? Can we capture some of the power from people as they walk past?
Is it something that you become aware of when you're walking on? It's very evident, is it also meant to slow traffic down?
So at the moment, the version we have at the moment is for lorries, and it's mostly used in slower speed areas. So as people come off in a port, as people drive, so it's mostly where people are like a traffic calming measure. But we have some just little changes to design, which means that people maybe go 20, 30 miles an hour and drive over the system. So we've talked to a lot of people like toll booths. In the UK, there's the Severn Bridge. They want to kind of put tolls back on. There are conversations around, you could put this in place, and actually rather than take a toll, you could take a little bit of the energy as they kind of pass by. So
it's fascinating to me when they're, and I guess it's on some level what platforms are all about. There's this kind of underutilized capacity in the world, which can be, and it was kind of a theme at the FTE about what's there that doesn't need to be there or could be used for another purpose and so forth.
No, definitely, and it makes me laugh because I have a lot of people that when you explain the idea, it's like, oh, well, you're stealing energy from... No, you're taking an opportunity to capture something that would have just passed you by. So if a cow is going to walk across to a dairy, it's going to walk across the dairy. You know, you're not taking a lot of energy from the cow. Just like you're not taking a huge amount from the passing traffic. You know, gravity is gravity, and that's it. I think people don't, I quite often say to people, if you look at wind, the wind things don't spin on their own. You spin the wind things with grid electric, and then you go slightly faster with the wind, and you take more out than you put in. These big turbines in Denmark, if you don't spin them for 5 weeks continually, you don't get to make enough extra to pay back the startup cost. So there's lots of things where people don't realise that things people think are green aren't as green as they could be. You know, and I think we're a great technology. We won't require huge subsidies or any subsidies, I don't think. The technology is quite simple. I took my second son to see the system, who's a business major, and he's like, but Dad, it's very simple. That's not a bad thing, son.
Yes, no, indeed. So have you bootstrapped it? Have you brought in friends alongside of you?
So,
I mean, just to go back one, you've done 3 or 4 startups. How many businesses have you taken all the way through?
So we've sold 3 companies on the way, mostly service companies.
Well done.
So yeah, with historically I've done kind of big projects. So in London, congestion charging. We've done Boris's bikes. My kids call it Dad's bikes.
Wow!
So we've done some big projects where we've got in and managed them for people that weren't managing them very well and turned them around. So we sold those companies to BT, bought one of our companies. We did okay. So with this company, we've invested to date, but we realised that we need some more people to come to the party. We want people who are the right people, though. We don't just want money. We do want some investment, but we want the partners that can help us grow this thing. So whether they've got connections with construction companies or solar companies where we can be an additive to their product line, or whether it's someone who can help us go into some of the big finance shops. If I look at the business model that we have, it's quite interesting, particularly in the States, and lots of places now bringing in incentives for renewables. So if you look at in the States, if we put a project in and it costs us $100,000, you get $37,000 back when you switch it on as tax credits, ITC tax credits. So we can come up with solutions that are very profitable and don't require a huge amount of cash. We only need cash to kind of transition, putting the projects together, putting them in the ground. The business model that we're very keen to go with is something called PPAs, power provision agreements. So we ideally want to be in a world where people will lend us the money for us to put the tech in the ground, and then we sell the power. So I want to sell people the power and say to you, Julie, I'll sell you your power at least 20% less than you pay for it at the moment, and it's locally generated, it's greener than the power you use at the moment, and you commit to me that you're going to buy the power that we produce, and we own the system, and then we can do very well. If I look at numbers at the moment, I think we can only get better. It probably costs us, I don't know, 7 or 8 cents to generate a kilowatt hour of power. We talked to someone in the UK the other day, they're paying 44 pence. That's like 50 cents, isn't it? 52 cents. So there's a huge margin for us to play with there.
It's not a surprise then that you got into something like Root Technologies if you were doing bikes and roads and so forth. I always think that entrepreneurs have a kind of theme and variation. Your theme is transportation. Your theme is efficiency and optimization of transportation.
Yeah, so a lot of projects, I've been looking to run a lot of projects, and I've had a lot of great teams work for me. So since 2015, when I guess I pseudo-retired, but I didn't kind of pseudo-retire. I don't have one day job now. I have 5 or 6. We invest in things that we think are interesting. We think are different. My wife's company has just gone B Corp. We want to make business do good. So one of the other things that we're looking at for this business is how do we give back? So I touched on it a little bit with you and the guys, where we want to be able to say, look, we can help schools create their own power. And then the schools, we say to them, rather than pay your power bills, you keep the money and then you give it to the people that can't eat pay for the school dinners, who can't wear the school uniforms because they can't afford it, and try and give it a little bit back to society. Because I think we've come up with something where there's a win-win-win, where we think we can win, we think our customers win, and actually we think we can give to the community too.
What if this is? What if you get, as a result of this interview, somebody sees you in some country far away, non-English, less infrastructure, not the UK? Can you deal with countries which don't yet have
absolutely.
It's not English and it's not, but they just say, God, I love that, I want that,
the system, absolutely. I mean, I talked about this kind of row system where we can drop it anywhere. We can create power wherever there's vehicles. So
we can create power wherever there's vehicles.
So wherever there's movement, wherever there's the ability to harvest something, where there's cattle in the future, if cattle, as long as they walk in a straight line, walk over this, we'll be able to create power. So there's lots of things where we've talked to other people around, there are people that are spending huge amounts of money on carbon credits.
Yes.
We could give the systems, once we start generating our revenues, we start giving the system to people that can't afford to have energy, so we can help crack the energy poverty thing in the world. Then people can even take the carbon credits and say, I funded this in Africa, and actually I use the carbon credits to offset something in the rest of my business. And actually then people aren't just buying credits for the sake of credits. I know a big mining company, and I won't mention names, but they spent $300 million last year alone on carbon credits.
Wow.
They could have spent $300 million putting our system to generate power for people and then had the carbon credits for that. There's some very exciting things. I mean, if we look at the economic payback for our system, it can pay back in 3 to 5 years if we sold it on a capex basis. For users. It pays back its own carbon footprint because it has no fuel. It's the passing traffic that's going to go by anyway. So because it has no fuel, it pays back its own carbon footprint in less than a year. This is good stuff.
What about the know-how stroke IP and, like your son said, the simple dad, but it's not. But it probably the definition of something which is really clever is that it looks more simple than it is.
Absolutely.
Somebody listens to this and says, oh gosh, I do that. I create a little ramp, I create power from this and so forth. Are they infringing some patent?
So we put things in place that will protect us. We put things in place which I think, I think people, it's like Hoover and vacuum cleaners. They're not the only people who do vacuum. We want to become the Hoover of vacuum cleaners. I think other people will be in the marketplace. I don't think they'll be able to be as efficient as us. I think it'll take a while to capture us up with us. Yes, we have protections in place. Do I almost think it's a bad thing that someone else will come in and compete? Maybe not, because actually it'll drive us to be better and more efficient. We certainly have dropped a few little things in protections. I think we'll make sure that we're the most efficient. So we can't protect everything because I think it's difficult to do that, and maybe the wrong thing to do. I'd rather people have power and us do well and other people do well than people not. But we do think we've got sufficient protection in place at the moment.
At the FTE Winter, there are about 25 entrepreneurs, really great quality. You right up there at the top with everything that you've done and so forth. And there was just a heavy dose of optimism going on those 2 days. What is it about entrepreneurs? And you yourself, you got incredible energy. What is it about, I always say society works best when it's organized around the entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are society's problem solvers. I think you agree. Why is it that not everybody is right there with us, Jason, and not everybody is just like, where are the entrepreneurs? Let's put them to work. And
it's difficult. It's I don't know. It's difficult. It's a big question, isn't it? I think lots of politics in lots of countries don't help. Short-term politics don't help making onto it. I think I mentioned to you over dinner that there was someone could have put lorry roads of charging in the UK. I was a part of one of the team bidding to do that, and they said no for a ridiculous reason. The actual hauliers in the UK wanted it. They would have got more votes for doing it. They could have made £6 billion, and they declined to do it. And they cancelled, and they actually paid people who bid to do the work to shut the thing down.
Not rational.
They make crazy ideas. I think there needs to be something in society where I would like to pay more tax if I thought people did something useful with it.
I am so there with you on that.
It's just, I think so many people would.
That's a great way of saying it, because I'm not anti-government at all. I just I'm waiting to efficiency of government services and so forth. But you know, I think in energy and really your root technology straddles transportation, energy, infrastructure. If you had to create a category, what would you say that category is?
I'd say we're a green energy company.
Green energy?
Yeah, so because it's not just about being in the infrastructure. We can have things where we can drop them in different places, so we're mobile. It's not just about transport.
Right.
We're looking at people-based systems in the future. The same principles as you drove around a car, corners, you get compression on the suspension. You could do something with that.
Yep.
You know, there's trains, planes. There's lots of things that we could do, and we can look at where we can take some of our concepts and capture some power back.
Yes. Well, you know, I think of, you know, in the telecoms industry many years ago, many moons ago, it was that, remember when SMS, you know, eons, and it became like, you know, the revenue killer for the, you know, revenue generator for all of the telecoms companies and so forth. It seems like root technologies could become a kind of pervasive play here. It seems that once you get the, you know, the infrastructure of the built environment to say, oh, you know, we got an SMS play here. This is the big cash cow for us, and that's, as you say, a good thing because everybody wins.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that we've always had. So we kept things relatively quiet while we kind of got the technology to the right place, and it's at the right place now.
Yes.
Now we want to explode.
Yes.
And now I want to be able to say I've got the order from DP World, Maersk Group, and actually, if someone even came into the marketplace, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I would have hoovered up my order book. And my order book, because this is a long-term kind of play, you know, these systems work for 12, 15 years. They're not going to fall apart. They're very robust. So someone else can come in, but they won't have all the best customers because I'll have all the best customers by then.
Fantastic. Well, it was a real pleasure to have you guys at the FTE Winter. Will you come back?
Definitely.
Yeah?
No, we really enjoyed it.
Well, excellent. And you know why we say follow the entrepreneur, because he or she knows where the market is and is, you know, shooting out and grabbing hold of it and so forth. So I really have welcomed having your contribution to the FT Winter here in Lake Zurich. I'm so grateful that you came.
No, fantastic, thank you.
That brings us to the end of our discussion with Jason Beresford, one of the founders of Root Technologies here at the FT Winter 2024.